Oh my goodness.
Good morning. This is Saturday, January 23rd, 2021, in the South Carolina Association of Educational Office Professionals, past presidents and retirees are honoring two past presidents who are not retired. However, their day's coming. And the presenter this morning from the South Carolina Upstate Group 601, Mr. Ken Hinkle, will be presenting the honorees. Mr. Hinkle.
Good morning, everyone. It is so great to be here today. I'm going to take this off so everybody can hear me better, I hope. I am the Upstate Coordinator for South Carolina for the Quilts of Valor Foundation, which is a national nonprofit organization to honor veterans with the highest award that a civilian can bestow on a veteran. Again, I say the highest award, right from the Department of Defense. We're here to honor two ladies. I love doing ladies, as far as honoring them, because we do so many men, and it's just so nice to be here with the two of you today and everyone else. The Quilts of Valor Foundation, as I said, it's a national nonprofit that started in 2003 with a woman, Catherine Roberts, whose son was in Iraq. She felt strongly about his welfare there. So strongly she had a dream. This whole thing started with a dream. In 2003, she had a dream about her son, Nathaniel, in Iraq, sitting on a bunk. He sat there, and the way she put it, he looked very forlorn. His head was in his hands, and he didn't look good at all. But she said, as if in a movie, a few scenes ahead, she saw him again, sitting on his bunk, a little bit more upbeat. Looked like he was feeling better, more comforted. Why? Because he had a quilt wrapped around his shoulders. Now, Catherine, being a quilter, thought, man, that sounds good. Why don't I get together with some of our friends and let's do something? So they started a group just going and making quilts and sending them to Iraq and then to Afghanistan. And since then, this quilt, not a ceremony, but giving quilts to veterans and members of the military, combat military, has changed to honoring all members of the military and veterans who have been touched by war. Think about being touched by war. I don't care what a vet did in the military, in service to our country. Some were in combat, some did support, no matter what they did. We have ones that here today, the musicians, JAG, all support in one way or another, supporting combat veterans. So it doesn't matter whether a veteran drove a truck or carried a rifle. They all did one thing. We all had one thing in common. I'm an Air Force vet, a Vietnam vet. And the one thing we had in common is we raised our right hand at one time. Ladies, do you remember that? You remember probably, like we all do, when you did that and how it started. And state your name, and then you took an oath to defend this country, its Constitution, against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and you swore to protect that flag, even if it meant coming home covered by that flag. It is an honor to be here. I want to talk to you a little bit about a Quilt of Valor. We have a quilter and her husband, who is a veteran. They wrote a little something about the quilt, and I will not memorize this. I'm going to read it word for word the way she wrote it. Now, the quilts that are here today, ladies, started their journey to where they are as individual fabrics. Each had their own colors and qualities that made them ideal candidates to be included in this work of art that you will see. Each of them came from different locations, and each of them had their own story. All of them had to be broken down and molded to meet the ultimate mission that was laid before them. This is not dissimilar than the process each of you went through and underwent through your training. Your instructors knew that when needed, what was needed was what the final unit would look like. To accomplish their work of art, each of you were broken down and reformed into the exact shape needed to fit perfectly into the mission laid before you. The parts of the quilt and what they represent to the artist, we have an artist here, Pauline Alford, who made these quilts for you. What goes into them? The first thing everyone notices about a quilt is the top, the colorful part, the front of the quilt. Here you see hundreds of decisions, cuts, and many thousands of stitches holding all the individual pieces together. No one piece stands alone. Each piece is critical to the success of the whole. Even though you may often feel as though you stand alone, we want you to know to look at this and remember that you are never alone. You also notice the fabric on the back of the quilt. This is where the strength of the quilt top is steadied upon a solid foundation. One solid concept that supports the journey of all carefully crafted pieces. The solid foundation is our gratitude for the service and pledge that day so long ago you swore. In the middle of the quilt is the batting. That's the warmth that we offer to wrap around you. Woven through all these three layers are thousands upon thousands of stitches. They represent the love, the hope, the prayers we have put into the quilt for you, for your family, for the future. Then around every quilt, there is a binding. The binding holds all the other pieces together to make sure it does what it's supposed to do, to comfort and heal in times of stress, in times of strife, or just to enjoy it and be comfortable. On the back of every quilt of Valor is a label that states it's an official quilt of Valor. It has your name on it, your branch of service, where and when it was awarded, who pieced it together, who quilted it, and who bound it. And that is just something to look at and know. People that, in this case, Pauline knows you, but in most cases, people do this for ones they don't know, and the love and caring that goes in each one. I'm not a quilter. I don't know what it's like to sit there hours on end to do this. It takes 60 to 70 hours to put one of these quilts together. It's amazing. But I've seen quilters prick their fingers and make sure no blood gets on the material. I've seen them have tears in their eyes when they're talking about what the veterans go through or how a quilt has helped certain veterans. Just so you know, here in South Carolina, since that's where it is, we are one of the most patriotic states in the country, and also we have led for the last 9 years in Quilt of Valor Awards. There's over 500,000 veterans and current members of the military right here in South Carolina. And we're honored to be part of that. So now, I've talked enough. Now it's time to let you see your quilts, ladies. So what I'm going to do, and in no particular order, I think it's just the way Pauline gave them to me. We are going to start with Georgette. So Georgette, if you would, come on up here. And Pauline and Jim, would you,